It is 2:30 after the hour. It's currently 63 degrees in downtown Sylacauga. Talladega County Revenue Commissioner Cindy Pennington joins us for a few minutes this morning. And Cindy, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you bright and early on a Friday morning.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, a lot of conversation about identification and Star ID. What is all this about?
Well, I said to someone just the other day, they were asking me the same question, and I said to them, well, you can blame Osama bin Laden for all this. Terrorism did bring this about, worldwide terrorism. But STAR stands for Secure, Trusted, and Reliable ID. That's what it stands for. And back in 2011, the state of Alabama decided to implement, or were thinking about implementing this program. And so they tried it out in a few of the counties. They did a pilot program and tried it out, and not our county, but 2 or 3 other counties. And they started issuing STAR IDs with the knowledge that eventually, at some point, the federal government was going to require you to have some type of what they call a real ID in order to travel within the country domestically for a domestic flight. And so, and other states call it different things.
Give us an example of how this is going to affect Talladega Countyans.
Well, it is affecting them right now because the long lines. But as far as to travel, if you had a flight, let's just say you were leaving to go to Michigan next week after the 7th, May 7th or later, then when you get to the airport and you don't just get on the airplane anymore like years ago.
Oh, no.
You go through a lot of stuff before they ever let you anywhere near that airplane. And so when you get there to the airport, you're going to have either a passport or a STAR ID.
You almost feel like that you're guilty of some crime.
You do. I said to someone, I love to fly, and I've never flown very many times, but the times that I have, I love to fly, but I hate all that process prior to that you have to go through. But this is what that's about. That's what STAR ID is about.
So this pilot program within a handful of counties, and so how did that work?
It went pretty well, from what I'm told. And so then they initiated it statewide in 2012 and began issuing a STAR license to anyone that wanted one. And there was a little bit of publicity about it, but nothing like we've seen lately. And so they set the date, the TSA set the date, Transportation and Safety Authority, for I think it was back in 21 or 22 that you would have to have it. That was the deadline in order to travel domestically in the United States. Well, COVID, just like everything else, it changed that. And so they changed that date. They kept pushing it back to finally it was May 7th of 2025. And there's not going to be another change. They're not going to push it back.
So is it on your driver's license?
It's on your driver's license, yes. And it's a STAR, and it allows you to travel domestically and to get onto some federal installations. For example, a military base. If you have a child that's in the military and you go to see them on a base, you're going to have this, or a passport to get on base.
Does everybody have to have it?
Yes. To get on, if you do this. Now, when you say, does everybody have to have it? We have had the driver's license examiners at the county building at the courthouse. They work for the state of Alabama,
right.
And only they can issue the STAR license. County personnel cannot issue them.
Okay.
This is only state personnel. And they tell us they've had some interesting stories of people saying, well, I have to get this because they're going to cut my power off if I don't get it. Or I'm not going to be able to drive if I don't get the STAR.
A lot of stories out there, right?
And that's not true. That is absolutely not true. But you will not be able to fly without it in the United States, or a passport. If you have a passport, it's just as good. And you're not going to be able to get on a federal installation. Now, that does not mean a federal courthouse like downtown Birmingham. That does not apply. You know, you can still walk in and out of there for jury duty or what have you without the star.
Does it cost more money to get your license?
It costs $36.25 to renew a driver's license. That's the same. This is that same amount. But what some people have gotten upset about is they renewed their license maybe a year or two ago, but they didn't get the star designation.
So they're in between now, right?
They are, but they have, if they want to get the star or need to get the star designation, they have to pay that $36.25 again, and that's the state doing that. ALEA, the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, that's not us. You know, we're there to, you know, and we don't get to issue the star, but we are there to kind of answer questions.
Is this a nationwide thing?
Well, it's nationwide, but it's not called STAR everywhere.
Okay.
Every state has to do this, and they had to set their own deadline and all that. But the absolute latest that they could set the deadline is May 7th.
So, you know, Mother's Day is coming up. Graduation's coming up this month. A lot of people are going to be traveling, a lot of air traffic. So if you don't have this STAR license, you can't fly.
You cannot. You cannot.
Wow.
And we've had a lot of people who have waited for whatever reason till the last few weeks to try to get this. And some of them are going to be traveling, from what I understand. And they have had, you know, for a while you could make appointments and come in either to our office or Jacksonville or other counties, St. Clair County, Pell City, and see the state examiners. However, from what I understand, they are booked out on appointments through August. Most of these places are.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So I have been telling people, well, if you don't have an appointment in Talladega, be there between 6:30 and 7 a.m. And they have been. There has been a line from the door of the courthouse, on the north side, all the way out to the sidewalk.
Oh, my goodness.
And so when we open up at 8 o'clock, there's just a long line of people there waiting to get downstairs to the basement to see the license examiners.
Now, I'm sure some of these people have panicked
Yes.
and thinking some things that they really don't have to think about.
Right. And a good example of that was the license examiner told us that last week they had a very sweet little lady, and the license examiner asked her, "Ma'am, do you mind telling me why you want to get the star?" She said, "Well, they say I have to have it." And she said, "Well, are you going to be flying, ma'am?" "Well, no, I'm 98. I'm not going to be flying." She said, "Ma'am, you don't need to do this.
Wow.
You don't need to stand in this line. You don't need to do this." So, you know, just if you're not planning to fly, or for example, if your license is due to be renewed next year, and you're not going to be flying, and you don't foresee going to a military installation before then, there's no need to put yourself in all this mess. Just wait until next year.
So it's more security driven, right?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Like I say, good old Osama bin Laden started all this. But,
wow. So, like if people watching this morning, if they're need to renew their license in the next week or two, and they're needing to fly next month.
Right. I would be there 6:30.
In that line.
In that line, bring your breakfast, maybe your lunch, and possibly a lawn chair to sit in. But I wanted to go over some of the forms that you need to have when you come to get that the state is requiring.
So you just don't come, right?
No, you don't just come. You must verify your identity and date of birth by providing one of the following documents. That could be a passport, a certified birth certificate, a valid, unexpired permanent resident card, certificate of naturalization, certificate of citizenship, and that you have to have one of those. And you must verify your Social Security number by providing one of these. Either your Social Security card, a certified letter on letterhead from the Social Security Administration stating your name and Social Security number, your U.S. military ID card, your U.S. military ID form, a W-2 tax form, or Medicare, Medicaid ID card. You have to have one of those. And then you must have 2 of these, either a voter registration card, a residential mortgage contract, a current lease or rental agreement for housing, proof of payment of your property tax, and we can provide you with a copy of that in our office, previous year's tax returns bearing your address, your vehicle registration, utility bill, water, gas, or electric, any state or federal court documents indicating your residence address, school enrollment documentation, your homeowner's insurance policy, military orders documenting duty station and place of residence. So there are several forms you have to have with you, several pieces of ID. You don't just come, as you said.
I lost my driver's license back some time ago, and so I went here to renew my license, and so I renewed it, but then I found my old license.
Yeah.
And I don't have that on mine, right?
No.
Okay.
In fact, it says at the top, not for federal identification.
Okay. I have never noticed that.
Yeah. And that means that you don't have the star. That means you can drive. You're good all day long to drive.
Yeah, but not flying.
Not flying.
Or going on to a military base.
Correct.
Wow. I bet you a lot of people are not aware of this.
You know, the state it's been on newspapers and it's been on social
Nobody
media.
reads the newspaper nowadays.
No, they don't. And I wish, in retrospect, and of course, you know, the state folks don't so much care what I think, but I wish there could have been maybe a TV campaign or a television campaign ads, something like that, to try to get the word out, because word of mouth has gotten it out the last, I'm going to say 6 or 8 weeks, and it's just been crazy. And if you walk in the basement of the courthouse here in about an hour, it will be just probably 40 people waiting.
All right, so let me get this straight now. We're talking with Cindy Pennington, Talladega County Revenue Commissioner. We're talking about the Star ID. Now, I went here locally to get my driver's license renewed.
Correct. If all you want is to get it renewed, you can do that. Even the Star, if you're getting it renewed, you can go locally.
Okay.
You can see the county folks.
All right.
But a first-time Star, have to see the state.
And I know, how can people find out, because they can't remember all this stuff you said they had to have, how do they find out?
If they will go to ALEA's website, which is www.alea.org.
You know, Cindy, for old folks like me, I mean, I done forgot what you said. But it's a serious situation because it crimps a lot of people's style.
It does. And, you know, there are people I know are in that situation, what you mentioned. They're about to need to fly, and so they are kind of panicking. So.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Nothing I can do. I can put out this information, but there's nothing I can do.
Wow. Very interesting. Thank you for coming by. And it starts next week, right?
Yes, May 7th. Yes. And yesterday was the 1st of May. Can you believe it?
Wow. And honestly, now I don't get out very much, I can tell you that. This is the first time I've heard of this.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I lead a sheltered life, right?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Maybe I need to get out more. Anyway. Star ID, Cindy Pennington, Talladega County Revenue Commissioner, our guest this morning. And if you're going to fly, you got to have one of these. You got to have that Star ID on your driver's license. So is that $30-something? Is that an addition to your regular license, or is that?
That will. It's in addition. I mean, if you get it today, maybe you need it. It's not time to renew.
Right.
It's $36.25, and then when it's time to renew your license in another year or so, it's $36.25.
Wow. Very interesting. Cindy, thanks for coming by this morning. And a small gold star, is that how it's going to be? In the upper left hand?
Is it upper left hand or upper right hand? I think it's left hand.
Left hand, yeah. And without this star, travelers must present another except, and usually I had a passport. I don't have one now, but you know, people don't normally just carry their passports around with them. They have it in secure locations.
Right.
So, but all right, Cindy, thanks for coming again, and happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
All right, Sandy Pennington, Talladega County Revenue Commissioner, our guest this morning. Star ID conversation. And before we go, give them that where they can go to find out more information on this.
www.alea.org.
All right, more Daybreak coming up right after this time out.